Pick up that jug of laundry detergent next to your washing machine. Look at what you paid for it. $25 for the big one. Now, I'm going to tell you something about what is inside it that the company would rather you not think about. Most of what you just carried home, most of the weight in that heavy plastic jug is water. Plain water dyed blue with a little soap and a strong perfume mixed in. You paid to have water shipped across the country in a plastic bottle, and then you paid again for the bottle, and you will pay again next month when it runs out. My name is Emily Yoder. I am Amish. I farm in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and we have never bought a jug of that blue water in the history of this house. I make our wash soap from 3 simple things you can buy at any grocery store for about $6. And one batch lasts our family the better part of a year. It washes the clothes of 9 people, work clothes, barn clothes, bed sheets, the children's everything, and it costs pennies a load. Today I'm going to give you the exact recipe, show you how to make it in about 20 minutes, and tell you honestly what it does well and what it does not. Because there are folks on the internet who will tell you this homemade soap beats every detergent on the shelf at everything, and that is not true, and I will not tell you a thing that is not true. I am also going to tell you the one trick that makes it work right in hard water, which is the thing most folks miss, and it is why some people try this and give up. Stay for that part especially. Stay with me. Let me start with what is really in that jug, because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. A bottle of liquid laundry detergent is mostly water. I am not exaggerating to make a point. The actual soap, the part that does the cleaning, is a small fraction of what is in there. The rest is water to carry it, dye to make it look rich and blue or green, and fragrance, a strong manufactured smell. And here is the clever part, the part that took me a while to understand. That smell is doing a job. And the job is not cleaning. The job is to make your nose believe the clothes are clean. Think about it honestly. When you pull your wash out and it smells like that mountain breeze or whatever they have named it, your mind says clean. But you did not measure anything. You did not test anything. You smelled a perfume. And your mind has been taught over years and years of every wash smelling like that, to hear that smell and think clean. The smell is not proof of clean. The smell is a habit they trained into you, and it is the most expensive part of the bottle. Manufactured fragrance is not cheap, and you are paying for it every single wash. Paying to perfume water. Now, getting clothes actually clean is not complicated, and it does not need any of that. It needs 3 things. Something to break the grip of grease and oil, so it can lift off the cloth. That is the soap itself. Something to handle the minerals in your water so the soap can do its work. That is a water softener. And something alkaline to help lift the dirt and oils out of the fibres. And a couple of common minerals do that. 3 things. Every one of them sits on a low shelf at the store, cheap with no advertising. And they have been cleaning clothes since long before there was a plastic jug to put anything in. Here are the 3 things you need. Write them down. The first is washing soda. Now hear me. Washing soda, not baking soda. They are cousins, but they are not the same thing. Washing soda is sodium carbonate, and the common box of it, the yellow one, is on the laundry aisle for about $4 or $5, and that one box lasts a long time. This is the workhorse. When it hits the water, it makes the water alkaline, and that is what loosens the grease and the oils and the dirt and lets them lift up out of the cloth. This is the main cleaner, washing soda. The second is borax. It is another mineral. They mine it out of dry lake beds, and it comes in a box on the same aisle for about $4 or $5. Borax is your water softener. Now, most of America has what they call hard water. Water with a lot of minerals dissolved in it. And hard water fights your soap. The minerals in the water grab onto the soap and onto the dirt and make a kind of scum. And instead of washing the dirt away, you are half rubbing it back into the cloth. Borax handles those minerals so the soap can actually do its job. Without it in hard water, you are washing in what amounts to thin mud. The third is a bar of plain soap grated up. Real soap, a plain bar. The simpler, the better. Folks use a plain Castile bar, or a plain old-fashioned laundry bar, or other simple bars made for this. A bar runs you a couple of dollars. You grate it up on a kitchen grater like you would a block of cheese. This is your actual soap, the part that grabs the grease and lets the water carry it away. 1 bar replaces a whole jug's worth of the soap in store detergent. That is the whole list: washing soda, borax, a bar of plain soap. Buy all 3, and you have spent maybe $12 or $13, and you will have most of each box left over for the next batch. So the cost of one actual batch works out to around $6, and 1 batch is a great deal of laundry. Now I have to stop and be plain about safety because I always am, and because it matters with these. Washing soda and borax are both strong. They are alkaline and they will dry out and irritate your skin if you handle them bare-handed for long, and they will sting badly if you rub your eye with them on your fingers. So wear gloves when you mix and keep them off your face. And here is the important one for those of you with little ones and animals about. Borax is not to be eaten. It is a fine laundry mineral, but it is harmful to swallow, especially for a child or a pet. So you keep both boxes up high, closed, and out of reach, the same as you would any cleaning supply, used right, gloves on, kept up away from the children, rinsed out of the wash. It is safe, and it has been used in homes for well over 100 years. But you treat it with respect. Honest is better than careless. Here is how I make it, and it is about 20 minutes of real work, and then you walk away. Take your bar of soap and grate it up fine on a kitchen grater. About a cup of grated soap. Put that in a saucepan with a few cups of hot water on low heat and stir it slow until every flake melts and it goes smooth like a thin milk. Do not let it boil up. You do not want a foaming mess, just melted soap. That takes maybe 10 minutes of slow stirring. While that is melting, take a 5-gallon bucket and fill it about halfway with the hottest tap water you can draw. When your soap is all melted, pour it into the bucket. Then add 1 cup of the washing soda and 1 cup of the borax. Stir it slow with a long wooden spoon for a couple of minutes. You will feel it start to thicken a little as it all comes together. Then top the bucket off the rest of the way with water. Cold from the tap is fine, and give it a good stir. Put the lid on and leave it overnight. That is the part you cannot rush. By the next morning, the whole bucket will have set up into a soft, thick gel, kind of like a loose pudding. That gel is your laundry soap. The whole bucket of it made for a few dollars. To use it, you stir it up. It will separate a bit as it sits. That is normal. Just give it a stir. And you use somewhere around 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup per load, scooped right into the machine. Less if your machine is one of the new high-efficiency front loaders, which I will speak to in a minute. 1 bucket like this will do you a great many loads. For a family doing wash all the time, you make a bucket every couple of months. For a smaller household, a bucket goes a long, long way. Now, here is the part that separates the folks who love this from the folks who try it once and quit. It is hard water. And it is the trick most people are never told. Remember I said most of America has hard water full of minerals, and that the minerals fight the soap and leave a scum. The borax helps a great deal with that. But in really hard water, even with the borax, a soap-based wash can over time leave a little dullness or stiffness in your clothes and towels. A faint build-up of soap and mineral together. This is the #1 reason somebody tries homemade soap, decides it doesn't work, and goes back to the jug. Here is the fix, and it costs almost nothing. White vinegar. Plain white vinegar, the cheap gallon. You put about 1/2 cup of it in the rinse in the fabric softener slot of your machine, or just pour it in for the rinse cycle. The vinegar is acid, mild, and it cuts right through that mineral and soap scum and rinses it clean away. It leaves your clothes soft. It is the only fabric softener we have ever used. And no, your clothes do not come out smelling like vinegar. The smell rinses out completely as it dries. 1/2 cup of vinegar in the rinse is the difference between this homemade soap is wonderful and this homemade soap doesn't work. Same soap, the vinegar is the secret. So that is the full system, the soap gel in the wash, a splash of white vinegar in the rinse. Cheap, simple, and it does the job. Now let me be honest with you about what this soap does well and what it does not, because I will not oversell it. What it does well: everyday dirt, sweat, body oils, ordinary grime, dust, the regular soil of regular living and regular work. For the everyday wash, and that is the great bulk of what any family washes, It gets clothes clean and fresh for pennies a load. It is gentle, and because there is no manufactured dye and no manufactured fragrance in it, it is far kinder to sensitive skin. If you have a little one who breaks out in a rash, or somebody in the house whose skin or whose head cannot abide the perfume in store detergent, this plain soap with nothing added is often a great relief. That is a real benefit, and it is honest. What it does not do as well, tough set-in stains and heavy grease. The store detergents have special ingredients, enzymes they call them, that are built in a laboratory specifically to break down stubborn stains like blood, grass, deep grease, baby messes. This homemade soap does not have those, and I'm not going to pretend it does. So, for a bad stain, you treat that stain directly before it goes in the wash. A dab of the soap rubbed right on it, or a proper stain treatment or a soak, and then you wash as usual. For the everyday load, the soap alone is plenty. For the hard stains, you spot treat first. That is just being honest about the tool. And one more honest word about the new machines. Many of you have the high-efficiency front-loading machines now, the ones that use very little water. This soap is naturally low sudsing. It does not foam up like the store stuff. And that is actually good because those machines do not like a lot of suds. But two cautions: use less, only a tablespoon or two for those machines since they use so little water. And check your machine's book, because a few manufacturers say to use only their approved detergents and frown on plain soap. If you use it in one of those, run an occasional empty hot wash with a cup of vinegar to keep any soap from building up inside the machine. Treated that way, it works fine in most of them, but I would rather tell you to check than have you void your warranty on my say-so. Now, I want to take a moment because this is the part that matters. Think about who profits from that jug of blue water. The detergent companies profit, of course, but look closer at how they sell you a jug that is mostly water and a little soap at a price that has almost nothing to do with what is in it. The dye costs them almost nothing. The fragrance is the priciest part, and it does no cleaning at all. It exists only to train your nose. And the genius of it from their side of the counter is that it runs out. Every few weeks you are back at the store, lifting another heavy jug into the cart, paying again to ship water across the country. A thing you must rebuy forever is a far better business than a thing you make yourself for $6 a year. And the smell is the hook that keeps the whole thing turning. They spent years teaching a whole country that clean has a particular manufactured smell, so that plain clean clothes that simply have no dirt and no odour and no perfume either started to feel to people like not clean enough. Your own nose was turned into a salesman working for them. That is not chemistry. That is a habit sold to you and rebought by you every single month of your life. There is no company that profits from a box of washing soda, a box of borax, a bar of plain soap, and a bucket. Nobody can build an advertising budget around it. Nobody can sell you a fresh one every month because you make it yourself and the boxes last and last. So you were never told, not because it does not work. It has worked in homes for over a century. But because there is no money in teaching a man to do for $6 what they would rather sell him for $300 a year. We make our own because we always have. And because a family that can wash its own clothes for pennies with 3 plain things off a low shelf is a family that needs no jug from anyone. That is the whole of it. Clean is not a smell you buy. Clean is just dirt gone. I am sharing this because these old ways, these simple truths, they are being lost to us on purpose. They want us dependent on their bottles and their shelves. But the earth gives us what we need. The minerals are there for the taking. The knowledge is free. And I believe it is wrong to keep that locked away. So I am breaking from the old silence to speak it plainly so anyone can hear it. So, here is what I want you to do this week. Next time you are at the store, walk past the laundry jugs and go down to the low shelf. Get a box of washing soda, not baking soda, washing soda. Get a box of borax. Get a plain bar of soap and get a gallon of plain white vinegar. Under $15 for all of it, and most of it left over for next time. Grate your bar of soap. Melt it in a few cups of hot water. Stir it into a half bucket of hot water with a cup of washing soda and a cup of borax. Top it off and leave it overnight. In the morning, you will have a bucket of gel that washes your family's clothes for months. Use a scoop per load, a splash of vinegar in the rinse, and spot treat the bad stains before they go in. Wear your gloves when you mix, and keep the boxes up away from the little ones. Tell me in the comments below, do you have hard water where you are? And have you ever tried making your own wash soap? And if you have a grandmother's recipe, an old way your family did it, I want to hear it. I read every single one of these, and the old recipes you all share are the reason I keep doing this. Next time, I'm going to show you how I make the bar soap itself, the actual soap from scratch, the old way, with just a few things and a little patience, so that even that $2 bar is something you can make with your own hands instead of buying. It is the natural next step after today. Until then, walk past the blue water, make your own, and remember the people who built this country with their hands, knew things we are only just starting to remember.